The lawyer looked at me like I was already dead. "Mr. Harrington, I need you to understand something." His fingers drummed against the mahogany desk. "Your wife's attorney has documented everything. The affair allegations against you, your son's testimony that you were emotionally absent, the financial records showing you hid assets." I didn't blink. "They're painting you as a narcissist, a manipulator, a man who controlled his family through money and fear." My ex-wife, Rebecca, had coached our son well. 22 years old, and Marcus stood beside her in every deposition, every hearing, his eyes cold when they met mine. My son. The lawyer sighed. "They're asking for the house, both vehicles, and 70% of your liquid assets." The judge is sympathetic to her narrative. "What are our chances?" I asked. He hesitated. "Honestly, we don't stand a chance." I leaned back in my chair. "That's fine," I said quietly. "I have a plan." It started 6 months ago. Rebecca filed for divorce on a Tuesday. No warning, no conversation, just papers delivered to my office by a stranger who apologized for interrupting my lunch. Marcus called that evening. "Dad, I think this is best for everyone." Not, "I'm sorry," not, "Are you okay?" Best for everyone. "Your mother and I can work through this," I told him. "Marriage is complicated, but there's nothing to work through. She told me everything, about the other women, the way you controlled her." My hand tightened around the phone. "What other women?" "Don't gaslight me, Dad. I'm not a child anymore." The line went dead. I sat in my study that night, bourbon untouched, staring at our wedding photo on the shelf. 24 years. I'd worked 70-hour weeks to build the life she wanted, the house she decorated, the cars she chose, the country club membership she insisted on. And now I was a monster. I hired a private investigator that week. Not for Rebecca. I knew she'd been careful. She'd had 2 years to prepare this. 2 years while I traveled for work building the consulting firm that paid for everything. No, I needed to understand Marcus. My son had always been distant, but this active cruelty felt orchestrated. The investigator's first report arrived on a Thursday. Subject has been living with his mother for 8 months prior to divorce filing. Frequent visits to residence of one Derek Castellano, age 48. Mr. Castellano is a corporate attorney, specializes in high-asset divorce cases. I read it twice. Derek Castellano, Rebecca's attorney. The second report came 3 days later. Photographs, time-stamped, geotagged. Rebecca entering Derek's townhouse at 11 p.m. on multiple occasions, leaving at dawn. The affair had been running for 3 years. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. The third photograph showed Marcus having coffee with Derek, laughing, relaxed, like family. I made a call to an old colleague, a geneticist I'd worked with on a pharmaceutical consultation. "I need a paternity test," I said. "Discreet, fast." "How fast?" "Yesterday." The envelope arrived on a Monday morning. I opened it standing in my empty kitchen. Rebecca had taken the coffee maker when she moved out. Even that small cruelty was calculated. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. Marcus Harrington is not the biological child of David Harrington. I read it 3 times. 22 years. Every baseball game, every parent-teacher conference, every college tuition payment. None of it was real. I called my lawyer. "I need you to file something for me," I said, "and I need absolute confidentiality until the final hearing." "What are we filing?" "A fraud claim and a motion to compel genetic testing of all parties." He was quiet for a long moment. "Jesus Christ, David. Are you certain?" "I'm certain." The final hearing was scheduled for a Wednesday. I arrived early, sat in the back of the courtroom, watching Rebecca and Marcus whisper with their attorney. Derek looked confident, pressed suit, Italian shoes, the kind of man who never lost. Marcus wouldn't look at me. When the judge called us forward, I watched Rebecca's performance, the trembling voice, the carefully timed tears. "Your Honor, my client simply wants what she's entitled to after years of emotional abuse." "Your Honor," my attorney interrupted, "we'd like to submit new evidence." Derek's expression shifted, just slightly. The judge nodded. My attorney placed 3 documents on the bench. A paternity test dated last month, a second paternity test conducted independently confirming the results, and a subpoena for Mr. Derek Castellano's genetic material. The courtroom went silent. Rebecca's face drained of color. Marcus looked confused. "What is this?" The judge read the first page, then the second. Her eyes lifted to Rebecca. "Your Honor, do you understand what these documents claim?" Rebecca's mouth opened, no sound came out. Derek stood abruptly. "Your Honor, this is a stall tactic." "Sit down, counselor." The judge's voice could have frozen blood. "Mr. Harrington, please explain." I stood slowly. "Marcus isn't my biological son. The man who is his father has been representing my wife in these proceedings. They've been conducting an affair for years. This entire case is built on fraud." Marcus stared at Derek, then at Rebecca. "Mom?" She started crying, real tears this time. Derek's face had gone gray. The case was dismissed with prejudice. Rebecca was ordered to return everything. The forensic accountant found she'd already transferred $60,000 to Derek's offshore account. Criminal charges are pending. Marcus tried to call me last week. I didn't answer. I sold the house yesterday, moving to Colorado. Clean air, new start. There's a freedom in burning everything down when you realize none of it was ever yours. I don't hate them. Hate requires caring. I simply don't think about them at all.